911 with the other 15.
Yeah. Hi. Listen.
What's going on?
My girlfriend's daughter's killed. Yes.
What's going on there?
My girlfriend, I'm sorry, my daughter's been chopped her head off.
2022년 6월 9일 오후 1시경 일리노이주 알턴에서 소름 끼친 신고가 접수됐습니다. 연락이 닿지 않는 딸을 확인하기 위해 딸의 아파트에 방문한 엄마는 집에 들어선 지 2분 만에 사색이는 채 건물을 뛰쳐나왔고 그녀를 뒤따라 건물로 들어가려던 이후 커플이 상황의 심각성을 인지합니다.
Are you outside the apartment right now?
Yes, yes.
What kind of a weapon does he have?
He's not here. He took her car.
Okay, officers are coming. So you haven't heard from her boyfriend or talked to him at all?
No, I haven't.
What time did you last hear from her?
It was like 9:05 or so. I had sent her a text, and she said they were talking. And then I tried again at 10, and she didn't answer. And then I tried this morning 2 times, and she didn't answer. And so then I came over here because she usually answers.
Okay. So last time we talked to her was last night when she sent your text message, right?
Yes.
Okay. The officers are coming. They'll be there
I know.
okay?
I know.
Okay. Okay.
신고 후 5분도 채 되지 않아 경찰들이 현장에 출동했는데요. 사건 현장 건물에는 4세대가 거주하고 있었습니다.
Where we going, huh?
Apartment 4.
Is anybody else here? You have a key to get in? Right here. This one. Do you have this key?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Evan, watch the rear. Oh, please, find here to make yourself known!
위층 4호에 살고 있던 리지의 집으로 경찰들이 들어섰고 침실 바닥에 리지는 사망한 채 담요를 덮고 누워 있었습니다. 머리 쪽에 감겨있던 또 다른 담요를 치우자 머리가 있어야 할 곳에 흥건한 피만 고여 있었죠. 집안 어느 곳에서도 리지의 머리는 찾을 수 없었습니다.
She wasn't kidding. Can we go sit on these front porch steps, though? Okay.
Well, I don't want to bother those people.
You know what? I'll tell them.
My car.
I'll tell them to go away. Okay.
It's okay. I'm okay.
Well, I just.
Oh my God. God, please, oh my goodness, listen.
Take some big deep breaths for me. Okay.
And then I touched her, and she was cold, and so then I wanted to make sure that he just stay with her. And then there wasn't a head. Please find her head.
연락이 닿지 않은 딸을 찾으러 나섰다 참혹한 광경을 마주한 엄마 하이디는 경찰들에게 딸의 머리를 꼭 찾아달라고 부탁했죠. 한편 당시 리지의 아파트 근처 대로변에 있던 한 담배가게가 공사 중이었는데요. 공사 중이던 이 가게 뒤쪽 공터에는 폐기물을 버리기 위해 빨간색 대형 쓰레기통이 놓여 있었습니다. 시신 발견 당일 석고보드를 버리려 쓰레기통에 다가간 한 인부는 충격적인 것을 발견했죠.
When they took them to the dumpster, there's a lot of clothes and shit in there, all stowed all over, laundry baskets, and there was a couple of shoes, some shoes with some slipper shoes too. Slipper shoes, they was red. They had blood on them. They all look like female shit. Real though. Male shit too. That's what the knife looked like. Down like that.
Okay.
That short, teeth on that boat.
So like a paring knife?
With teeth on it, like you cut meat.
Serrated?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like that. That's what the knife looked like.
Was the handle longer than the blade, or was the...
No, it was short, about like this.
And when you picked up the knife, did you pick it up by the blade? Did you pick it up by the handle?
By the blade. I mean, by the handle.
By the handle?
Do that, mother. I got you. With oh shit, blood on it. That.
Was the blood on the handle? Was it on the blade? Was it covered in it?
I read the thing.
도대체 누가 이런 끔찍한 일을 저질렀을까요? 엄마 말대로 리지의 남자친구의 짓이었을까요? 1999년 태어난 리지 더드는 동물을 사랑하고 정이 많던 아이였습니다. 2017년 저주 커뮤니티 고등학교를 졸업한 리지는 간호사였던 엄마를 본받아 의학계열 공부를 이어가고자 데일코인에서 아르바이트를 하며 돈을 모으고 있었죠. 그러던 중 리지는 2020년부터 동갑내기 디안드레 할로웨이와 교제를 시작했습니다. 둘은 2년 내내 사귀었다 헤어졌다를 반복했는데요. 이 커플이 어떻게 만나게 되었는지는 현재까지 밝혀지지 않았지만 디안드레는 마약을 하고 18살 때부터 이 집 저 집을 전전하며 미성년자 술 소지와 무면허 운전 전과도 있는 불량한 삶을 살고 있었죠.
How long has he not lived there?
He moved out when he was about 18.
And how old is he now?
21.
Okay. Where did he go when he moved out?
I'm not sure.
Okay. What do you know about DeAndre's life currently, like about like his relationship status and things like that, and where he lives and things like that?
He lives pretty much with everybody. Like, well, he lives with his girlfriend, but like whenever they get into it, like he hops in different people's homes.
리지가 일하던 식당 매니저의 증언에 따르면 이들은 한때 리치필드 호수 근처에서 텐트를 치고 노숙을 하던 시절도 있었고 데이트 폭력 또한 난무한 관계였다고 전해집니다.
She was making up a story,
Okay.
and then she finally did tell me that she had some problems with her boyfriend, was hitting her, and they were actually homeless and were living out at the campground at the lake. She had a lot of personal problems with a boyfriend, a lot of calling off. She had a lot of black eyes when she would come in. When she first started, she would make excuses that her dog had jumped up and hit her and caused her black eyes. She was constantly running late, like for personal reasons. Always something coming up. She had a lot of black eyes, a lot of bruising on her arms, like where you could see, like maybe grabbing.
Okay. What specifically did you see when the day you actually witnessed her being battered? What did you see?
A punch in the face.
You saw Mr. Holloway punch her?
Face,
okay.
yeah.
So were they in the car when that happened, or were they outside the car?
No, they were in the car, and we have cameras on the back of the building. We actually tried to roll the cameras back, but they're not very good definition, so we weren't able to actually see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was he in the driver's seat?
Yes, he was.
Okay. And did she return to work after that happened?
She did.
And did you see any? Did she have any visible injuries on that
Her
occasion?
face was red.
Okay. And did she say anything, or was she confronted about that?
I asked her about it, and she said they had gotten in an argument. Eventually, after the excuses about the dog and things like that stopped, she was honest about it and just said that they were always arguing and fighting, and then they would make up and it would happen again.
Okay. Did she, like specifically that day when she was struck, was there any conversation like after the fact when she comes back into work about the police or?
I wanted to call the police and she did not want to do that.
Okay.
2021년 7월엔 디안드레가 리지를 폭행해 눈 혈관이 터지고 코뼈가 부러지게도 만들었는데요. 공개적인 장소에서도 그들의 언쟁은 멈추지 않았으며 길가에서 다툼을 벌이던 디안드레가 자신의 머리를 주먹으로 내리친 적도 있었습니다. 2021년 12월 리지는 상황을 더 이상 숨기지 않고 상사에게 알렸고 디안드레로부터 도망치려 했지만 또다시 재결합을 반복하고 말았죠. 사실 이 사건의 충격적인 부분은 사망한 사람이 리지 한 명이 아닌 둘이었다는 점이었습니다. 디안드레와 리지의 관계가 불안정했던 2021년 10월경 리지는 임신을 했습니다. 아이의 아빠는 디안드레가 아니었던 것으로 알려졌는데요. 디안드레의 이복 형제의 진술에 따르면 디안드레는 뱃속의 아이가 자신의 자식이라고 믿고 있었습니다.
You can tell she's pregnant.
Yes.
And I know this is a dumb question. Like, did he say it was his?
Yes. Yeah, they both did. Yeah.
And whenever they fight, what does he do? Like, where does he go?
He just takes off, and nobody knows where he goes.
Do you know that they fight a lot before? Or?
Yeah.
How do you know that?
He told me.
2012년 초 저지빌에 살던 리지는 사건 현장인 알턴의 한 아파트로 이사했고 재결합한 디안드레와 동거를 시작했습니다. 하지만 그들의 싸움은 멈출 기세가 없었죠. 사건 당시 임신 8개월 차였던 리지는 출산을 약 한 달가량 앞두고 2주 후 열릴 베이비 샤워 파티를 계획하며 들떠 있었습니다. 그러던 중 2022년 6월 5일 디안드레는 친구에게 그동안 억눌려온 감정이 한 번에 터져나온 것 같다며 그간 쌓여온 분노와 불안정한 정신 상태에 대해 문자를 보냅니다. 그리고는 6월 7일 화를 통제하지 못할 것 같다던 디안드레가 홀연히 사라졌습니다. 출산을 눈앞에 두고 큰 스트레스를 받던 리지는 디안드레와의 다툼 이후 심란한 마음을 엄마와 문자로 나눴습니다. 밤 9시 7분 리지는 엄마에게 디안드레가 이렇게 떠났다고 생각하냐는 질문을 했습니다. 엄마는 그랬다면 옷과 물건을 두고 가지 않았을 것이라며 리지를 안심시키려 했지만 리지는 그가 옷 일부를 챙겨나갔다며 불안해했고 이내 버림받은 것 같다는 문자를 보냈습니다. 엄마 하이디는 오래전부터 딸의 연애를 걱정해왔기에 이번 일이 전화위복이 될 수도 있다고 여기며 상황이 폭력적으로 끝나지 않고 딸이 자유로워진 것이라며 긍정적인 면을 찾으려고 했죠. 하지만 리지는 불안한 예감을 느낀 듯 상황이 그렇지 않아 보인다고 답했습니다. 그리고 디안드레가 떠나기 전 싸웠던 장면을 묘사하며 자신이 디안드레에게 그냥 죽어버리겠다며 면도기를 부숴 다리를 그었다고 말했죠. 엄마 하이디는 왜 그런 생각을 했냐고 물었고 나에 대한 엄마의 이런 담담한 반응은 리지의 그런 시도가 처음이 아님을 보여주었습니다. 뭐든 제대로 못하는 것 같다며 스스로를 깎아내리던 리지는 쉽사리 잠들지 못했고 새벽 1시 40분경 약 30분간 드라이브를 한 후 돌아와 잠을 청했는데요. 6월 8일 아침이 되어도 디안드레는 집에 돌아오지 않았고 리지는 엄마에게 아직도 소식이 없다며 문자를 남겼습니다. 이후 그녀는 평소처럼 오후에 일하러 갈 식당 유니폼을 세탁하러 다녀오고 아파트 현관 앞에 앉아 생각에 잠기기도 했죠. 한편 리지와 마찬가지로 디안드레를 찾던 이복 동생 PJ는 페이스북으로 리지에게 연락을 시도했습니다.
I'm currently friends with her now because we were looking for him yesterday because he just went missing.
Okay.
So I found her on Facebook and tried to get some information to see if she knew. The first person she called was my grandma, and she asked my grandma if he was at her house, and she said no. And the girlfriend said that he didn't come home Tuesday night into Wednesday, and she was looking for him and stuff, and she thought that he may have went to my grandma's house. So my grandma called me and asked if he was up there or if I heard from him.
아무도 그의 행방을 알지 못하자 리지는 건물주에게 연락해 CCTV를 확인해달라고 요청했고 건물주는 디안드레의 인상착의와 7일 오후 6시 24분 삼촌 모티와 함께 떠난 것을 확인해 주었습니다.
The girlfriend called the landlord to their apartment because they have cameras around the apartment and stuff, and she asked the landlord if he can go back and look at the cameras and stuff to see if he saw DeAndre, which he did. It was like around 6:24 when he left the apartment, and he went with his uncle that lives in St. Louis.
Is everybody relieved at that point, or like?
Not really, because the girlfriend said that his uncle was supposed to bring him back that night, and he's supposed to call like before 10, and then it was after 10.
하루 종일 초조하게 디안드레를 기다리던 리지에게 오후 8시경 디안드레의 삼촌 모티가 갑작스럽게 전화를 걸어왔는데요. 디안드레가 곧 집에 갈 것이고 모든 것이 괜찮으니 데리러 나오라고 알렸죠. 전화를 받은 리즈는 이 사실을 엄마에게 공유했고 엄마는 아기까지 위험해지지 않도록 조심하라고 경고했습니다. 오후 9시 조금 넘은 시각 리지는 디안드레를 데리고 집으로 돌아왔습니다. 9시 8분 엄마에게 무슨 상황인지 알아보겠다는 문자를 남기고 차에서 내려 집으로 걸어 들어가는 리지의 이 모습이 그녀가 살아서 찍힌 마지막 장면이 되었습니다. 오후 10시 49분 엄마가 괜찮냐고 문자를 보냈지만 리지는 응답이 없었죠. 리지의 집 외에도 3세대가 더 살고 있었기에 리지와 디안드레가 집으로 들어간 이후에도 여러 사람들이 건물에 드나들었는데요. 오후 11시 57분 리지의 후드티를 입고 손수건으로 얼굴을 가린 디안드레가 빨래 바구니를 들고 건물을 빠져나갑니다. 주차되어 있던 리지의 차에 다가간 그는 차키를 놓고 온 듯 다시 빨래 바구니까지 들고 집 안으로 향했죠. 3분 후 아까 모습 그대로 건물을 다시 빠져나온 디안드레는 이번엔 차에 가지 않고 걸어서 대로변으로 향했습니다. 공사 중이던 담배가게 뒤쪽 카메라는 대형 쓰레기통을 정면으로 비추고 있었는데요. 저 멀리서 빨래 바구니를 들고 걸어오는 디안드레가 화면에 포착되기 시작했습니다. 그리고 그가 들고 있던 빨래 바구니와 옷가지를 쓰레기통에 던지는 모습이 적나라하게 찍혔습니다. 바로 이 빨래 바구니에 리지의 머리와 범행도구, 옷들이 들어있었던 것이었죠. 이 끔찍한 일을 저지른 디안드레는 6일 후 리지의 차를 타고 자신의 엄마 집으로 도망쳤습니다. 엄마 집에 도착한 디안드레는 2년 동안 기르던 머리를 갑자기 자르며 새 시작이라는 기묘한 말을 남겼는데요. 이후 샤워를 하고 엄마에게 새 옷을 달라고도 요구했습니다.
My sister said around 2:30 in the morning, he's like banging on the door and stuff, and he's like pacing and like acting nervous.
Where?
At my house.
This morning?
Yeah, this morning
Okay.
at 2:30. I seen my grandma standing in the doorway to the bathroom, and I looked and I'm like, oh, there's Dee. And then he was cutting his hair off and stuff, and I asked him why he was cutting his hair off, and he just said a fresh start.
Okay. And what's his demeanor like?
He was like nervous, like you can tell he was like really nervous.
Just your personal opinion, why do you think he's cutting his hair off?
Got in trouble. Was that he had on, he took him outside for some reason, and he set it by the sidewalk, and then he comes back in, and then he was...
Did you see him take those clothes off?
Yes.
So is that why because you said he didn't have a shirt to wear. So when do you see him take the clothes off?
He had a hoodie on and some pants, and then he took his shirt off or his hoodie off when he was cutting his hair, I guess, because it was already off.
Mm-hmm.
And then he still had the pants on and stuff, and the hoodie was on the bathroom floor.
And then that's when he gets out and asks your mom for clothes?
Yeah.
And then he didn't have a shirt on, obviously?
Because he didn't want to put the same clothes back on.
Okay, what were those clothes?
I know it was a bucket hat. I think it was like blue.
You didn't see him about a hat. He had a hat on?
Yeah.
Okay.
He had like a bucket hat on. I think it was like blue or something.
Anything about the hoodie that you recognize?
No.
What about the shirt he had on?
No.
So when he gets to the shower, those clothes are all in the bathroom?
Yeah.
And then that's when he gets the gray pants from your mom, and does he ask you for a shirt?
No, I just gave him.
So then what does he do with the clothes?
After we got out of the shower, he took them outside, put them by the sidewalk where our trash can was. And then he comes back in the house, chats for a little bit and stuff. And then my grandma was cooking breakfast, and she asked him if he wanted a plate. And he said, yeah. And then that's when he went back outside. And then I guess the clothes that he had on the sidewalk, he put them in the trash, which they're in there now.
또한 디안드레는 엄마 집에 있던 할머니에게 뜬금없이 리지의 신분증, 체크카드, 아파트 열쇠를 건넸고 할머니는 경찰 탐문당시까지도 리지의 사망 사실을 모르고 있었습니다.
He had I don't even know what his girlfriend's name is. Okay. But anyhow, he had gave me her ID in the debit card.
Okay.
And I said, well, why you got her debit card?
Yeah.
And license, you know. And I said, now she out there driving, and then she thinks she got her license, and you got it. Then this morning, he gave me 2 keys.
Okay.
And I said, well, where you get these keys from? And he said he found them on the ground. But he didn't say where he found them on the ground. And I said, well, give it here. I say, then I can get in touch with her.
Okay.
And
you want to put that stuff in there?
I'm getting it back now?
This here?
Yeah.
Is that yours?
No, but I'm going to try.
Right.
I'm going to try to get it to her.
Okay, that's what I'll do. I'll take care of it.
You sure now?
Yeah.
The keys too?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Did he tell you what those keys were for?
He just told me he found them.
What did he say to you when you asked him why he had that stuff? He didn't get an answer?
Just look like he's in a daze or something. He said, I'm going to cut some grass. And so she asked him, where was he going to cut grass? And he just said he's going to cut grass.
Okay. And he left on foot?
He left on foot.
6월 9일 낮 길거리에 리지의 차를 세우고 판매한다는 종이를 써붙인 디안드레는 그 길로 집을 떠나 자취를 감췄습니다. 혹시 그의 엄마가 아들의 도주를 도울까 진행된 인터뷰에서 그의 엄마조차 아들에게 접근 금지 명령을 신청한 사실이 밝혀졌죠.
Even being mom, like, if you knew where he's at, would you tell me?
I would. Like, if I knew what was going on, I would tell you. But from last night of him doing the disappearing act to what's going on now, I have no clue, like, what transpired.
Are you afraid of him?
Yeah, I got an order of protection on him.
Okay. Yeah. And what prompted you to get that?
He was staying with me for a couple days, and he was becoming frightening, like he was going to do something. So I was like, you gotta go. And so when he left, he called my daughter back and was like, I love you guys, but I'm coming back to kill you.
그리고 사건 당일 밤 리지의 아파트 이웃의 목격담은 간담을 서늘하게 만들었습니다.
Well, the past few days they've been arguing, and that's nothing new.
Okay.
They fight, like they used to fight all the time, and it would be loud fighting, and we actually had to call the cops on them before, because I don't know who it was, but somebody picked something up and slammed it against the wall. We assumed it was one of them throwing each other. Last night it was different. It was like we got home from picking me up from work. I got home from work around 9:30-ish, and their front door was cracked, which is unusual. They don't.
9:30 p.m. last night? Okay.
They don't usually leave their front door cracked, and it was, and that was a little weird. And I heard like muffled yelling, like not screaming, but yelling in a way, kind of like in pain, like you just like snipped your finger with a scissor and you had to put some over your mouth so you wouldn't scream too loud. That's what it sounded like.
She said it sounded like muffled screaming?
Kind of, but it wasn't too loud.
Okay.
And then later on, we heard like the apartment shakes a little bit whenever you move too much, and it started shaking, and we're like, okay, they must be fighting or something, and we were gonna wait to see if it got better, or like if it didn't, because we were just gonna go sit outside and wait it out.
Yeah.
So we didn't have to deal with it. And so whenever that was happening, the apartment was shaking, they were fighting about something, and then all of a sudden the screaming got really, really loud and really intense. And that was, I would say, probably about 9:45, 9:50. And then the apartment had like 5 or 6 loud like thuds, and they got louder and louder each time.
Okay.
And they shook the apartment as well.
So, like, what did it sound like, experienced in life, to your best ability, that would have created or possibly created the sound that you heard?
Probably, I really don't know other than like chopping wood.
Okay.
That's what it sounded like there was enough time to do, was like, it was very constant beats too.
Okay.
So that's what made me think it sounded like that.
So do you think it sounded like an instrument hitting something, or do you think, or something is making you, kind of envision that through sound? You know what I mean? Like, we hear something and our brain is gonna take that information in, right? What we're hearing, smelling, feeling, and we're gonna kind of like paint this mental picture, right?
Right.
So what about that sound makes you think chopping wood?
It was more of how steady it was.
Okay.
Because when you chop wood, you gotta lift it up, you gotta hold it, and then you gotta put all your weight into it, and all your muscle.
Yeah.
And when you do it, you go.
And you kind of got a rhythm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it had like 4 or 5, 6 of those beats, and then it just stopped. The screaming stopped, the sound stopped, the shaking stopped, everything stopped. At that point, we heard somebody walk outside.
Okay.
But we weren't able to see because we just glanced down the window, and from the window that the awning is right there, so we can't see down on the patio deck area, and so we couldn't see who it was, but they were out there for about 2 minutes, and then they came back in, and they came upstairs, but I was too scared to see who it was.
And then what?
So my best friend came over, and because I was like, hey, something's going on, I'm not feeling so right about this. And she was like, I'll come stay outside with you. So we were standing out waiting for one of them to come downstairs, because usually after they fight, one of them comes downstairs.
Okay.
Neither one of them did, but the lights upstairs in their apartment kept turning on and off.
Okay.
So we knew somebody was up there. We assumed it was Lacey.
Okay.
But we didn't see either one of them.
아파트 이웃은 걱정스러운 이웃집 소리에 건물주에게 문자를 남겼고 리지와 연락해보겠다던 건물주는 그녀와 연락이 닿지 않음을 공유했습니다. 소리가 다시 들리면 경찰에 신고하겠다던 이웃은 신고를 하지 않았는데요. 그녀가 이 문자를 보냈을 당시 이미 아파트에는 정막이 흐르기 시작했고 리지는 이미 사망한 상태였던 것으로 추정됩니다. 강력한 증거와 증언을 확보한 경찰은 6월 9일 오후 9시 30분 시신 발견 9시간 반 만에 디안드레의 엄마 집에 수색영장을 집행했습니다. 집 밖 쓰레기통에서는 그가 리지의 집에서 엄마 집까지 이동할 때 입었던 옷과 자른 머리카락이 휴지에 쌓인 채 그대로 발견되었습니다. 하지만 디안드레는 집안에서 찾을 수 없었죠. 그런데 6월 10일 새벽 1시 45분 알턴에서 차로 약 45분 거리인 길레스비 경찰서에서 한 통의 전화가 걸려왔습니다. 살인 용의자와 인상착의가 비슷한 남성이 절도, 공무집행 방해, 신원 확인 방해, 공공재산 손괴, 마약 소지 혐의로 체포되었고 그날 오후 이 신원미상의 용의자가 알턴 경찰서로 인도되었습니다. 그는 계속해서 이름을 밝히지 않았고 상당히 격앙된 상태였죠.
Yeah. Don't have a name. That's okay. What's her name? What I have? What's that? What I have? You have cannabis on you.
Oh, legal. Okay, exactly. Right.
Need some water or anything?
Yeah, I would like some water because you guys gotta.
Hey, you need some water?
Yeah.
Okay, please get you some water.
Is it okay if I walk around? Is it okay if I stand up and take a step, like a couple steps?
What you gonna do? Why you gotta do that? Pull your pants up or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
And I said, he's doing his job. This man has done nothing but his job. I swear to you.
You need to sit back down and chair, please.
Didn't you just say I could pace?
No, I didn't say you could pace. I thought you said you had to get beat pants. If you could sit down in there, please. Thank you.
Do you mind if I pace? Is that illegal? I'm here. I'm handcuffed, ain't it?
We don't want that. We want you to sit down.
Exactly. I know you don't want that.
So if you could please sit down, guys.
I can't. I'm handcuffed.
Yeah, you can. You sit down.
I literally can't do anything. I'm handcuffed.
You need to sit down.
Why are you guys scared of me for what?
I'm not scared. You need to sit down.
How? If I'm literally sitting here pacing handcuffed, I can't do shit.
You gotta
searched me.
Okay, so what's your name? What they're going to do is...
I literally asked if I was being detained. That man said no. And then he proceeded to ask me the same question over and over and over. And I said the same thing. And again, he's just not having it because he's got an attitude problem with me. I got an attitude problem too. I know I got one. I got one. That's why I'm not sitting down.
But you know I can make you sit down, so I'm not.
Do it.
What did I just say?
Do it. Sit me down.
I said I could.
Do it.
I'm not going to do it.
Because you're scared. Exactly. I'm handcuffed.
Scared for what?
Do it.
You know, guy, we're not going to get into this.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, don't you just being mean to me, though?
I'm not being mean to you.
I
said you're pacing back and forth, and you said, well, set me down. And I said I could if I wanted to, but I don't want to. Don't do that.
They just fucking did that. You come in here.
Don't do that.
Do something. That's what I'm saying. Do something. Do something. Don't do that. Don't do that.
벽에 머리를 부딪히며 경찰을 도발했던 그는 결국 제압되었습니다.
Just have my folks will come get me out.
Well, we don't know your name, so...
Exactly, but my folks will be there to get me out.
Who's your folks? I know you're
Don't worry about it.
다음날 진행된 신문에서도 그는 여전히 이름을 말하지 않았고 형사의 끊임없는 질문에도 반복해서 일하러 가야 한다고 답했는데요. 그는 당시 무직 상태였던 것으로 추정되었습니다. 자신이 다중인격 장애를 앓고 있고 정신과 약도 처방받았다고 주장하며 취조실을 빠져나가려는 시도도 했습니다. 형사가 계속해서 대화를 시도했으나 디안드레가 변호사를 요구하면서 취조는 중단될 수밖에 없었습니다. 6월 13일 그는 1급 살인, 살해, 신체 훼손, 자동차 관련 범죄, 살인 은폐 혐의로 기소되었고 보석금은 약 25억 원으로 책정되었습니다. 지역사회의 사건이 보도되자 디안드레를 향한 질타가 이어졌죠. 이에 그의 새아빠 크리스는 자신의 유튜브 채널에 한 영상을 게재했습니다. 그는 의붓아들의 범행이 끔찍하고 잘못된 이름을 부정하지 않았지만 그 행동의 원인을 오랫동안 해결되지 못한 정신적 문제와 사회 시스템의 실패로 돌렸습니다.
First of all, I want to offer my condolences to the Dodd family. I cannot imagine what you must be going through. I'm not going to deny that what happened was an extreme act of evil. It was. I don't know how else to explain it. It was an act of evil. Over here, we are ashamed. His mom, his sister, were all shocked. We knew he was capable of violence, but we never saw this. We been trying to get help for him for at least 3 years. But as far as longer term mental care, we were always told that we can't hold them unless they've done something. Now he's being held because he's done something. Our system fails people with mental problems. I've grown up in an environment with mental problems, and people are kind of left on their own. It's a tragic situation. This is the D that we knew. They're old pictures, but they show that there's a human there. He's not a monster. What he did was savage. What he did was monstrous. He's not a monster. I haven't seen any articles that suggest that maybe extreme paranoia was part of it. Again, I grew up with mental illness. I grew up with a mom who experienced paranoia, and it was bad. It was bad. It was in her head that everybody was out to get her, even her own family. This is not me trying to justify what he did. I'm not. I'm trying to counter the narrative that he's a monster. I'm trying to counter the narrative where, as human beings, we are dehumanizing other people We have to stop this. I'm not advocating that DeAndre should ever be allowed to enter civilized society again. I mean, he's obviously crossed a line there. I'm not advocating anything like that. I'm just saying there's a human being here, and it's tragic what mental illness has done to him. It's unbelievable to me that people who call themselves Christians are just throwing this person away. He was human. He was fully human. As a matter of fact, he saved my life on one occasion. That doesn't mean he's a savior, but the fact that he did an act of evil does not mean he's a monster. He's a human being. And we need to start treating people like human beings, because what we're doing is we're driving each other into madness. Treat this as him being a monster and keep pushing that narrative that he's savage, that he's savage, that he's savage. He's a monster, he's a monster, he's a monster. What you're doing is you are creating a mythical character, a legend, a villain. But a lie has made it halfway around the world while the truth is still putting its shoes on. And there's a whole lot of truth that people aren't seeing here. And that doesn't mean that Dee is innocent, but it means that we really need to take mental health seriously, or we're never going to see an end to this kind of thing.
기소된 디안드레에게 선고까지는 무수히 많은 법정 절차가 남아 있었는데요. 이제 막 기소된 시점에서 그의 상태는 종잡을 수 없었습니다. 법정 심리를 위해 구치소 독방에 있던 그를 데리고 나오려던 교정관들에게 디안드레는 반항과 목을 잘라버리겠다는 협박도 서슴지 않았죠. 화상재판 출석을 거부하며 폭력적 성향을 보이자 결국 강제로 제압되어 법정에 세워졌으나 정신상태가 재판을 받을 수 없다고 판단되어 주립 정신병원에 수감되었습니다. 일리노이주에서는 가석방 없는 무기징역형을 구형하기 위해 다수의 살인 피해자 또는 특정 가중 요인을 입증해야 되는데요. 디안드레의 법정 절차가 한창 진행되던 중 2023년 별도의 한 사건에서 일리노이주 대법원이 종신형 구형을 위해 태아를 두 번째 살인 피해자로 간주할 수 없다는 판결을 내리면서 검찰이 디안드레에게 종신형을 구형할 수 없게 되었습니다. 디안드레의 정신과 치료로 재판이 지연되던 중 2024년 7월 그는 스스로 변호하겠다고 선언했고 국선 변호사가 사임했습니다. 정신상태가 호전되어 재판을 받을 수 있게 되어 잡힌 2024년 10월 7일 재판에서도 정신상태 문제와 스스로를 변호하며 생긴 문제가 겹쳐 재판은 제대로 진행되지 못했습니다. 하지만 2024년 12월 디안드레가 유죄를 인정하며 마침내 형량이 선고되었죠. 살인죄 30년, 살인 20년, 사체훼손 10년형을 순차 집행하여 총 60년형을 선고받은 그는 2074년 그가 75세가 되는 해에 가석방 심사를 받을 수 있게 됩니다. 범행의 진짜 동기, 디안드레가 며칠간 사라졌다 돌아온 이유, 그 사이에 어떤 계획을 세웠는지, 그리고 그날 밤 리지의 마지막 말이 무엇이었는지는 여전히 미궁 속에 남아 있습니다.
This is a tragic outcome of a 2-year on and off again domestic violence relationship. This didn't have to end this way. My daughter should be here raising her toddler
instead of being a casualty of domestic violence. If you have a mental instability or mental illness, seek treatment and be consistent with your treatment. Understand that your condition or illness will not keep you from being held accountable for the crimes you commit. If you are in a domestic violence relationship, if someone is emotionally, mentally, or physically abusing you, make a safe plan to leave that relationship. If they continually disrespect your boundaries, make demeaning comments, and control your every movement, this is abuse. If someone threatens to end your life, believe them. If they can say it, think it, and talk about it, they can carry out the threat. It isn't easy, and it may be one of the hardest things you do, but your life is important, and you are worthy and deserve a life free from abuse.
고통스럽게 생을 마감했을 리지와 엄마 품에 단 한 번도 안겨보지 못한 채 떠난 빈을 추모하며 오늘의 영상을 마칩니다.